Indeed, it's still morning at NTV, and we're still having more conversations. Going to my colleague Ivan Kamana Walnyolo in Entebbe, talking. One of those on the welcoming committee of our Olympians who returned yesterday ahead of the presidential speech later on today. Kamana, what is the latest from your area in Entebbe?
Audience, I am coming to you from Katabi Town Council in Wakiso district. Yesterday, it was another day of joy for the Ugandans when the team of 25 Ugandans who had gone to represent their country in the recently concluded Olympics were returning. 4 medals were brought to the country. A lot of pride, a lot of joy, a lot of jubilation was seen on the road as the convoy made its way from Entebbe International Airport to Kampala when Cheptegei Joshua, Jacob Kipulimo, Peruth Chemtai returned with medals. It is sent a signal that despite the political differences, social and religious, Ugandans are one. But what does such an interesting moment, what do such medals mean to the country, the athletes, and the rest of other people who follow the disciplines? I am joined by one of the renowned sports personality, and he is also the General Secretary of University Sports Uganda, Patrick Sebuliba, to make us understand the plight of such athletes in the country. And Patrick Sebuliba, welcome with me on Morning at NTV.
You're welcome.
You saw what happened yesterday when the group of 25 were returning, the jubilation, the pride, and the kind of, fun that people exhibited on the road. As an athlete, as a renowned sports personality, what does that mean to the country?
Sports is regarded as a universal language. It unites people, because one thing that we need to understand is that for one to qualify to play sports, you don't qualify because you're politically affiliated with a particular group or you have a particular religion. So sports is a unifying factor, and at this time I think we need to use sports to unite the masses. I've seen countries that have been fighting at the battlefield, but when it comes to sports, they are playing each other, they are hugging each other. Even after a game, when a team loses or an opponent has been battered, beaten, you see them hugging each other. It means sports, there is a lot of fair play. The sense of fair play has been exhibited in these Olympic Games. I've watched all these games since they started. And you see somebody terribly beaten, he expects to be announced the leader or the winner, but at the end of the day, the decision is that the opponent has won. And you see them hugging each other. So sports, I think, is a unifying factor, and I agree with that statement, which comes from the Olympic solidarity.
I heard the comment when Cheptegei was winning and said he comes from a country where everyone should visit, the beauty. What does that mean, especially using sports to promote the interests of our country?
Uganda is the pearl of Africa. We have a lot that needs to be desired. A lot, flora, fauna, the animals, the vegetation, the people, very welcoming. I think Uganda should take up this opportunity to invite as many people to come and visit Uganda.
Master, we saw what Sekitoleko went through, and perhaps it sent a message that we need to have to cater for our athletes, the sports men and women. What should be the plight of such people who make our country proud and we become a discussion on the globe?
I think a few errors were done as far as Sekitoleko is concerned, because when you hear his story, it's like he had not been properly prepared. Because you cannot take an athlete from Uganda to Japan, and at the end of the day, you tell him you are not going to compete. As an individual, he was traumatized. So he had to think, what is my plan B? So I think government should prepare these people mentally, psychologically, because training an athlete is not enough. There is physical training, there is psychological training, social training, so that by the time somebody is going to represent Uganda, he's fully equipped with all those attributes, so that you have a complete person, not somebody who is thinking about home, somebody who is thinking about finances, but is focused on what is going to compete.
We have seen most of these athletes. Let me use the example of the recently concluded Olympics. We went to participate in a few disciplines, and there were many. What should we do the next time Uganda is going to participate in such international competitions? We have as many disciplines as possible.
Of course, as a person, I'm also disappointed by the way we handle our sports in Uganda, because we cannot just think about a few items. You think about athletics, you think about boxing, and a few swimmers. Definitely, this is because of our background. There is a need, there is a lot that we need to do. We need to begin other sports. I've heard of, we have 52 federations in Uganda. How come we are only represented by 5 or 4? What are the other federations doing? Do we have academies? Do we have young talent for these other sports? A sport like fencing, where you only need 2 athletes, karate, taekwondo, judo. What is required? Do we need a number to have judo? Do we need a number to have karate? So I think the federations in Uganda should think seriously developing talent from the primary schools, secondary schools, through the universities, and put up a number of centers so that we can develop capacity to have as many athletes as possible.
And then lastly, Masters, we wind up. What should be done? We have seen most of these athletes rise and fall. They we only appreciate when they've won. And some of them, after their names hit the globe, they turn down. What should be the way that we have to make these young boys who go and girls who represent Uganda, and after they win, it can be an inspiration for the young ones, not to see stories